It was 2:47 a.m. when Maria's trembling hands dropped the mop bucket, and the sound echoed down the empty marble hallway like a cry for help. She froze, her heart pounding, as she knelt to clean up the soapy mess spreading across the pristine office floor. It wasn't the spilled water that broke her, it was the exhaustion, the loneliness, and the weight of everything she carried silently every single night. Her husband was gone, her son barely eating, and her dreams buried beneath the smell of cleaning chemicals and sleepless nights. Maria Alvarez had once walked these same corporate halls as a respected designer. Now, she scrubbed their floors. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the strength of the human spirit, please take a moment to like, comment, share, and subscribe to Kindness Spark. Stories like Maria's remind us that behind every weary face, there's a story worth hearing. Maria hadn't always been invisible. A decade earlier, she was the rising star of a prominent architecture firm in Los Angeles. Her designs had won awards, her sketches praised for their heart and harmony. She had dreams of opening her own design studio with her husband, Daniel, a structural engineer who believed in her more than anyone else. They were a team, two dreamers building a life with love, laughter, and plans for the future. But life doesn't always honor plans. One rainy night changed everything. Daniel was driving home from a late site inspection when a truck ran a red light. The crash ended his life instantly, and shattered Maria's world forever. She remembered the phone call, the hospital's sterile smell, the coldness of his wedding ring in her palm. For weeks, she couldn't get out of bed. Her 6-year-old son, Mateo, would climb beside her and whisper, "Mommy, Daddy's in heaven. He said he'll watch us, right?" She would nod, pretending to believe it herself. Bills piled up, her grief turned into numbness, and soon, the house that Daniel had built for them was gone. She sold everything to keep food on the table. Her qualifications meant nothing without connections or energy to fight. Depression became her shadow. Eventually, she took the only job she could find, a nighttime cleaning shift at an office building downtown. The irony burned her soul. The company she once dreamed of working for had now hired her to clean their floors. Each night, Maria would arrive at 9 p.m. after putting Mateo to sleep at her neighbor's apartment. She would tie her hair into a bun, put on her worn uniform, and quietly clean the vast, glass-walled offices while the city slept. The fluorescent lights made everything look hollow. The hum of the vacuum was the only sound that kept her company. She avoided mirrors, they reminded her too much of the woman she used to be. But one thing Maria refused to let die was her dignity. Every desk she wiped, every floor she polished, she did it with care. She often paused to look at the architectural blueprints pinned on walls, tracing them with her eyes, imagining how she would have done it differently. Somewhere deep inside, the architect in her still lived, silenced, but not gone. One night, as she cleaned the top floor, she came across a large glass office she had never entered before. The nameplate read, "Ethan Cole, CEO." The room was immaculate, modern, and filled with framed designs on the walls. As she dusted the shelves, her gaze froze on a familiar sketch pinned near the window, a design she recognized instantly. Her breath caught in her throat. It was hers. Years ago, she had submitted that design for a competition, the Harmony Building project that was supposed to launch her career. She had lost contact after Daniel's death, and never heard back. But there it was, her work, hanging proudly in a CEO's office. She leaned closer, trembling, and saw her faded signature in the corner. She didn't know whether to feel proud or broken. What Maria didn't know was that Ethan Cole had been searching for the designer behind that concept for years. He had purchased the project rights, but the original creator had vanished without a trace. He often spoke of how that design inspired the company's vision for balance between nature and structure. It was his firm's most famous project, and Maria, the night janitor, was the woman who had created it. Weeks passed, and Maria continued cleaning, careful never to leave a trace. But fate has its way of revealing truth. One evening, while she was cleaning the conference room, Ethan returned late from a meeting. She froze, hoping to go unnoticed, but he caught sight of her. "You're still here." "It's past midnight," he said casually, loosening his tie. She nodded quietly, keeping her eyes down. Something about her calmness struck him. "You've been with the cleaning crew long?" he asked kindly. She hesitated, unsure what to say, then whispered, "A little over a year, sir." He smiled politely and walked into his office. But as he turned on the light, his eyes fell on the harmony sketch. He suddenly remembered the signature on it. M. Alvarez. That night, curiosity got the better of him. He searched the company's old competition files and found the original submission. Maria Alvarez, architect. The pieces began to fit together. He looked at the janitor's attendance sheet the next morning. Her name matched. He sat back, stunned. The woman cleaning his floors was the same person whose design had changed his company forever. Ethan couldn't shake it off. The next night, he waited for her. When Maria entered the office, she froze to see the CEO standing by the window, holding her old design. "You drew this, didn't you?" he asked softly. Her heart stopped. Her eyes darted to the floor, then back to him. "It doesn't matter anymore," she murmured. "It was a long time ago." But Ethan didn't let it go. He saw the pain in her eyes, the fatigue, the quiet pride. He asked her to sit, though she resisted. That night, Maria told him everything, about losing Daniel, about Mateo, about how she had tried to survive. As she spoke, Ethan listened silently, his expression shifting from disbelief to compassion. By the time she finished, there were tears in his eyes. "Maria," he said quietly, "you don't belong with a mop in your hands. You belong behind a desk with blueprints and a team who believes in you." She smiled faintly, shaking her head. "That life is gone." But Ethan didn't agree. The very next day, he called HR and reinstated her old credentials. Within a week, Maria found herself sitting in an office again, but this time, not as a cleaner. She was hired as a junior architect in Ethan's firm, with flexible hours so she could care for her son. It felt surreal. The first day she walked through those glass doors in her new clothes, holding Mateo's hand, she almost broke down. Her co-workers were kind but surprised. Some had seen her mopping the floors weeks ago. Yet, as they witnessed her work, respect replaced judgment. Maria poured her heart into every sketch, every design, every line she drew. Her talent, long buried under pain, began to shine again. Ethan personally mentored her, reminding her that no dream is ever too broken to rebuild. One evening, after months of hard work, Ethan announced a new project, the Phoenix Tower, a sustainable building designed to symbolize rebirth. He wanted Maria to lead it. When he revealed the name in her honor, she could barely speak. The entire office clapped, but Maria's eyes filled with tears. She wasn't just designing a building, she was rebuilding her life. Months later, when the Phoenix Tower's foundation was laid, Ethan invited Maria and Mateo to the site. As they stood together, Mateo looked up at the massive structure and whispered, "Mom, Daddy would be proud of you." Maria closed her eyes, feeling the wind brush her face. For the first time in years, she felt peace. From then on, Maria became a symbol in the company, a reminder that everyone you meet is fighting a battle you cannot see. The janitor who became the architect. The widow who found her purpose again. Ethan often said that finding Maria was the best thing that ever happened to his company, and perhaps, to him. Because in helping her rebuild her life, he rediscovered his own humanity. If this story touched your heart, please don't scroll away. Take a moment to like, share, and subscribe to Kindness Spark, because stories like Maria's remind us that compassion can change a life. Before we end, we'd love to hear from you. Would you have given Maria a second chance if you were in Ethan's place? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Your words might inspire someone who needs hope tonight. Maria's life didn't become perfect overnight. There were still bills to pay, school lunches to pack, and memories that hurt. But now, she faced them with strength, not sorrow. Every morning, as sunlight poured through the tall windows of her new office, she would whisper a quiet thank you, to Daniel, to Ethan, and to herself, for not giving up. The janitor who once wiped away footprints now built places where others could leave theirs. And though she never sought recognition, her name eventually appeared again, engraved in silver letters on the building she designed, Phoenix Tower, designed by Maria Alvarez. Because sometimes, the people the world overlooks are the ones who have already built something extraordinary inside themselves. All they need, is for someone to finally see it.